Going back to the prelim, it was a really good way of getting us experience of spotting the continuity. It really sort of helped us to apply the mistakes that we made from the prelim and sort of correct them in our actual film. So that really helped us out a lot.
And it was Heb's job as director to tell me as cameraman and Dan as assistant cameraman to look out for these continuity errors and make sure that they don't happen while we were filming on set.
And we found that in our prelim it's really difficult to spot the continuity, as we got told by people who watched our films that we had some continuity errors that we didn't notice
until afterwards.
Like especially the water bottle when we were showing it to the actual class.
We didn't notice that one.
Yeah,
the focus was on the. We were very much like watching for our own camera work, watching for the editing, things like that, and we didn't notice the continuity errors.
It's a small thing that makes a huge difference to a film.
Yeah, so with our prelim we didn't really show it to many people, so we didn't get much feedback on continuity errors and little things that we wouldn't have necessarily spotted. But with our final film, especially with our draft, we showed our draft to quite a few people, like friends and family, and then we got feedback where, for instance, the light changes between scenes like dramatically, and obviously me as editor I had to change that later on when we actually done the final production, whereas in the draft those errors were still there, but they were helpfully pointed out by friends and family that we've made watch the film.
One of the continuity errors that's often sort of missed is continuity within sound, so making sure that there's not like massive differences, and so we made sure that there were multiple layers of sound, which me and Tom did together. Where
so we didn't really want any background sound, otherwise it would have just made it sound a lot more distracting to the viewer.
We recorded ambient noises when we were there as well, and multi-layered them, so it still felt like an immersive atmosphere, and it still was realistic to the scene, but we could manipulate and control the sound depending on what we wanted and how we wanted to focus the audience's attention.
And they do this in real feature films as well, because if say cinema always has surround sound, so we manipulated the ambient noises just to, if it was played in surround sound, it would be really realistic, I think.
And also every time we got the friends and family to watch the final production or the draft to give feedback on, we always got them to listen to it with headphones, because then it's more of an immersive experience rather than just having it playing through speakers, because you can really hear the multi-layered sound that me and Stephen worked so hard on through headphones.
And just to go back on the point on continuity, with continuity, even though it looks funny, like we thought it was pretty funny at first, there's a bottle there. It was like, there is a degree of embarrassment to it, I think. But we played it off well, and I think for the final piece, we've really done well with it.
And even when there were like slight moments where we thought it could be interpreted as continuity, whereby there's a train passing in the background for one of the shots, we then manipulated it. We added in sound of a train passing, and so it doesn't look like a continuity error, which it wasn't, because there were trains obviously coming and going all the time. I think another interesting point is during our research, one of the films that we watched was The Dark Knight, which was from 2008. 2008. And in the opening shot, it's an aerial dolly looking at a skyscraper, and towards the end of the shot, you can actually see the helicopter they used. So continuity is a real issue that even massive productions face, and even massive productions get wrong sometimes. So
even these massive films like Star Wars, big franchises like that, there's plenty of continuity in there.
And like they have a specific show about continuity errors that people spot during films. It's on BBC3. I always watch that, and it's pretty good to know that even big productions make little mistakes that everyone notices. So it's not like a huge thing that
the whole way through
has to go wrong.
The whole way through the sort of industry and the business, like it's something that everyone faces, and it's a very real challenge that we had to cope with and adapt to in the same way that big companies would, and small independent companies.
If we could do this again, like if we could restart this experience, what I would change is just get one person specifically, like just their job to watch out for continuity. So we would get them, not when we're filming, but just get them to watch the film and analyse the continuity errors that would be within it.
As well, like we particularly developed from the preliminary exercise to the final piece was the preliminary exercise we did all in one sitting. It was very rushed, because we had a break between the 2 filming days, and we could watch over the draft that we had, and we could like really plan thoroughly what we were going to do. It meant that we could avoid most of the continuity errors that would come up anyway, whereas with the preliminary exercise, because it was quite rushed, we didn't necessarily take into account the importance of it.
Especially with the costume changes.
Yeah.
In the second day, because I wore a different shirt to the first day, so we had to fix that
with the prelim.
Yeah, with the prelim. But this didn't happen in the actual piece because of how we filmed it and how we manipulated it.
I mean, we did have, like, as you can see, a slight haircut change, but we kind of took advantage of that.
And that was good.
So
we worked it into our film and part of our story.
We kind of made it look like it was, set a couple of years after the first half of our film, and we sort of applied that, which made it look pretty effective. So.
And Tom,
I think originally the plan was that we were going to reshoot the
first bit.
Yeah, we were going to reshoot it. That's why I then obviously thought it was okay to cut my hair, which was, in hindsight, not necessarily the best idea I ever had. But obviously, we then did incorporate it into the scene. We then incorporated it into our story, and then because we took the time to plan, we could make arrangements for that and change the story to fit what happened in real life.
And I think
which was the same as our actress.
And I think we all agree that it just helps make our film look more professional because this does happen. Like characters get their hair cut in film.
And I think it it made us take our story in a different way as well. Like originally we were just going to have the chase scene for the opening 2 minutes. I think that having it then cut to a flash forward or
just takes it to another level.
I think it intrigues the audience more. It makes them want to see what's happening. I know that
it's like the personal details, like he's got his haircut or his beard shaved. Like in The Walking Dead, I've heard the protagonist Rick has now shaved his beard, which he's had for a few seasons. So it just adds to the realism, I think.
I think as well, when I was showing people, I don't know if happened with you as well, like friends and family where I showed them the draft and when I showed them the final piece as well for feedback, one of the things that they've said is that they'd really like to see where the rest of the film went, they want to see what happened next and what happened to the protagonist and the antagonist. So I think that really adds an extra level of depth in that it really intrigues the audience. They want to know what's going to happen, and I think that's really good as well.
And that's what the opening is meant to do.
So that was really good. Our target, I think.
Yeah, we've achieved it as a group, and especially more so than the pre. Yeah, especially more so than the pre. Yeah.